Okay, so right now I want to reference an article that I recalled after sleeping for a healthy number of hours last night. The article is by Ozy Brennan. It's on Substack and it's called Myths About Love Shy Men. So I think it's interesting. It would be worthwhile for a certain sort of, I don't know, maybe young man I'm aware of who needs a certain kind of verbal or cultural ammunition to help him not get conflated with, you know, certain kinds of maybe archetypal figures with whom he could be falsely conflated. Okay, so I personally am not love shy. I'm what's called a volcel, or voluntarily celibate, and I've been that way for 10 straight years with no regrets. During that time, I used dating apps for a total of less than 72 hours from the start of my downloading of them to the end of my using them. And, I wanted to point out this article because I think it's one of those sobering counterpoints to some of the sensationalistic short form pieces that are out there. So, what's nice about this article, even though it's not necessarily the most authoritative coverage of this topic, is that it lends some degree of empathetic concern for maybe a certain kind of accidentally low status male, I've known plenty of maybe attractive, considerate other men who were not romantically successful. I would call them love shy in different ways. They seem to have displayed a trend from being they seem to have displayed a trend of having been raised in mother-dominated homes, if not single mother homes. So in an aesthetic sense, or that which relates to their presentation, they're appealing to women, but they don't always have the basic kind of manly competencies needed to attract women. And a lot of men like this tend to end up kind of melancholy in their temperament, okay? A good number of men I knew like this were gifted, whether just purely in terms of their intellectual abilities or their aesthetic capacities, their artistic capacities. So there's another article I would reference, but unfortunately it comes from a blog that does not have proper security settings, so whenever I try to click on it, I get a warning that says, well, this doesn't have proper HTTPS protections. So I'm not going to reference it, but it's something that combines some kind of documentary, which is like Shy Boys IRL, with major important moral lessons from the trials of Telemachus, which is like a mythological tale. So what I would have you do, if you can find a safe way to supplement the reading of Ozy Brennan's text with information about the trials of Telemachus, is first read Ozy's article on myths about love shy men, and then read about the trials of Telemachus. What you're going to find is that these sort of empathetic takes about people who may be kind of accidentally marginalized or self-marginalizing unwittingly are a portion of the equation of what helps people re-socialize themselves into being healthy people, okay? And if you're a man and you recognize yourself to be self-weakening in various ways, and recognize that, as I referenced in another video, you can find different kinds of archetypal figures and moral ideals and surrogate father figures through the use of your smartphone and deploy those implements to help you train yourself into becoming something the likes of which your bloodline hasn't seen. So we all start somewhere, you know. As I used to say frequently, every human is a process. So once you recognize yourself to be shaped by different kinds of causal influences, you can also recognize that if you inject an adequately mindful change of inputs in your life, you're going to get different outputs, okay? So the first rule is to keep your head on straight, keep a cool head, and just cautiously assess what is shaping you into reinforcing whatever, dysfunctional tendencies you might have around women you like or something, okay? I, for my part, am going to stay single. I've been single for 10 years. I plan to be single for at least 10 more years minimum. But if you're out there and you recognize yourself to be accurately captured by this text by Ozy, then keep in mind that there are free or cheap tools out there that can help you audit and edit yourself into becoming something that has much more self-respect than the natural sequence of your life has led you to have. All right, take care and God bless.